Increasingly, we know that emotions play an incredibly important part in driving our decision making. So consequently, one of the key sort of things that advertising does, it is the art of subtle persuasion. And the way we know we do it best is when you can take a fact, a truth, but you find a new way of expressing that. And often you express it in a way which is a very, wrapped in actually sort of emotion. So what I'm trying to talk about is actually the way we're going to encourage more people to actually take up the use of vaccines is not about just rationally ramming the facts down because it doesn't work, because you're not addressing the fundamental thing that's going on with them. And instead you've got to do it through use of sort of emotions. Advertising needs to work with all the social media, it needs to work with all the other sort of work that is being done at all different levels of what I call the consumer journey. I think social media has been the most profound impact upon our society. It is going to become the next big sort of revolution, and we haven't seen but a touch of it yet. And I think we're going to see dramatic changes. What it's actually doing is it's shifting the whole balance of power, if I can use it. In the old days, brands and actually big corporations controlled the messaging. Now it's being reversed, and now the messaging is being owned and being translated, and actually the meaning of brands, the meaning of actually all things are being co-created. The reality is, if you look at the psychology of us, we are driven more to avoid fear than we are to go and seek pleasure. In advertising, it's a very expensive sort of way of actually talking to people. Therefore, you don't get many chances to go and talk to them. So therefore, in some ways, you do need to go and use some of those. And if you look at advertising for someone like the NSPCC, they have historically done more fear-based, more emotion-grabbing work, because the truth is that brings in the money more than if you go into a nicey nice story. You look at what just happened on children in need in the UK. A lot of the stories are very heartfelt stories. A lot of them showing real stories about real individuals and the hardships they're doing. Now, clearly there is a point that people will cut off from. But the truth is that maybe a person will only need to see the ad or that message once or twice. So I'm sorry, I do think that sometimes we do need to do a bit of fear. When you go to your doctor, he doesn't talk about the nicey niceties. He says to you, oi, if you don't lose that weight, Buster. So why would it be different out there?